I'm Leslie B, justice seeker, story keeper, and we're still watching, waiting for justice.
Hey, y'all. I can't believe there's such a feisty trial going on right here minutes from me. And I didn't even know about it until yesterday when we had Take It to Trial on. So, this is the trial of Blaise Taylor, who is allegedly on trial for murdering his girlfriend who was pregnant with his baby with poisoning by cocaine. It's wild to watch something. I mean, I've only watched bits and pieces today, and his little attorney, she gets pretty crazy. It's wild to watch something and be like, yeah, that's our policemen. Those are our uniforms. Yep, that's Vanderbilt ER. So I somewhat can only imagine what it's like for the Tallahassee people. Hey, Peachy Keen, welcome. Ain't no hollaback girl. Maestro, Blue River. I really wasn't sure if I was going to go live or not. And then when I watched some of this and this attorney of his, I bet he's pissed. I just had pizza as well. Hey, Jenny. Good to see everybody. Hey, Shayna. Good to see ya. Yeah, let's go. Not another one so sad. Haven't heard about this one. I know. I didn't know. And he had left for Utah after she passed. So his dad, this guy, Blaise Taylor, is a coach, not the head coach, but like an assistant coach at Texas A&M, which is interesting because his attorney there in the white jacket on the screen, she is from Texas. And so I just have to wonder, is daddy fitting the bill? And then you'll just have to see what she does today. Thank you. And thanks, Ain't No Hollaback Girl, for the article. Yeah, I looked up Letitia Hollins. This is her own firm. This is his team. I just found it interesting that she's in Texas when this is a Tennessee trial. I mean, usually you hire an attorney, in that state. Yeah. Okay. So today was opening arguments, and the state was like 25 minutes, and the defense is like 50 minutes. And then they bring on a witness who was the OBGYN of Jade Bennett, the one that was, or Benning, was murdered. And then you'll just have to see. She's very aggressive. So I'm going down there tomorrow. I don't know. I hope I get in. Apparently, it was kind of crowded, and the judge had people leave today. But I feel like it's always more crowded on opening day. But I'm Leslie B, and welcome. So I am going to start. It's the trial of Blaise Taylor. There he is. He was a scout for the Tennessee Titans.
What did
Oh,
you
real
put
quick.
in my
Sorry.
drink?
I don't. Oh yeah, looks like closed captioning is turned on. I don't think it was on one of the other ones, but this prosecutor, I've watched her before. She's good. So years ago, there was a Vanderbilt RAPE case, football team. A girl was basically inebriated, and they did all kinds of things to her, and they recorded it on their phones. And she prosecuted that case, and that guy is still in prison.
I knew my drink tasted funny. You did this because you didn't want the baby. Those are a few of Jade Benning's last words, heard by her very best friend, Nigella Jackson. Words that she heard spoken to Blaise Taylor over the phone 20 minutes before EMTs would find Jade Benning pulseless EMTs found Jade Benning face down, laying across her bed, not in her bed, across her bed, face down. She was pulseless. When they found Jade Benning, she had this pink, frothy liquid around her mouth, like a spit up. And the area where she had been face down on her comforter, it had that same pink spit up vomit on it. The EMTs did not even know that Jade Benning was 5 months pregnant. They rushed Jade Benning to Vanderbilt Hospital, and when she arrived at the ER, Jade Benning was dead. You will hear evidence and testimony this week that none of the treatment team at Vanderbilt's emergency room had that night of February 25th, 2023, just after 10 p.m. when Jade Benning came to their emergency department. You will hear the evidence and testimony that the blood sample that was taken in the emergency room at 10:31 p.m., the very first blood sample from Jade Benning, that the later testing that came back months later, the concentration of cocaine in her blood was so high, it was unlike anything the medical examiner in this case had ever seen, but it was higher than anything the entire medical examiner's office had seen. You will also hear evidence and testimony that the testing of that pink spit up vomit on Jade's comforter, that it also tested an outrageous level of cocaine. You will hear evidence and testimony from multiple different experts that the physical evidence in this case shows that Jade Benning orally ingested cocaine that had been dissolved in a liquid. You will also hear that Jade Benning was drinking a pink drink that night. Before any of those events happened, Jade Benning was a young 24-year-old, about to turn 25, young woman who was very happy to be 5 months pregnant. Jade Benning was not from the Nashville area. She's from Arkansas. She grew up there with her mom, Bridget, her stepdad, Glenn. That's where she met her very best friend, Jade Jackson, when she was just 6 years old. Jade went on to school. She was a competitive athlete growing up. She went on to school, but her dream was to be a chef. And she achieved that dream. She went to culinary school, she graduated, and Jade actually had family living in the Nashville area. Her stepmom and dad and her half-sister lived in the Nashville area, and her stepmom's brother owned a restaurant, and he hired her on as a chef. And she was so happy to be living her dream. She had a group of really close friends that worked with her at the restaurant, and that was early 2022. And then in August of 2022, Jade Benning's best friend, Jade Jackson, her very best friend growing up, moved to Nashville to go to school at Mary. They were back together again, and these two girls talked constantly, told each other everything. They were so incredibly close. And it was about that same time in August of 2022 that Jade Benning had been linked with Blaise Taylor on a dating app. They started trading messages, and in mid-August, they went out to one dinner at Stony River and went on a date. And they began a casual relationship. It became sexual. It was not a public relationship. They dated, and sometime in late September, Jade Benning became pregnant. Now, she did not find out that she was pregnant until November 2nd of 2022. And when Jade Benning took that home pregnancy test, the very first thing that she did was she called her best friend, Isaiah. She told her, and they started planning to figure out how they could get an appointment to make sure that that was in fact the case. And she confirmed that she definitely was pregnant. Jade Benning reached out to Blaise Taylor, told him that she needed to talk to him in person, and they talked.
Did she say she was drinking alcohol? I mean, I heard that she was drinking, but I didn't hear that it was alcohol. Hey, Goddess 2019, welcome. Was not drinking alcohol, foaming at mouth like Eric Richens. Yep, that's what I was kind of thinking. But yeah, welcome, Goddess. Good to see you. Happy you're here. Oh, by the way, I just looked up this ADA, and her name is Jan Norman. And she actually graduated with a marketing degree and had a career in sales and realized it was not her passion and went to law school. I am going to interview her. Obviously, not right now during this trial, but I'm going to make this a freaking goal. Stay tuned.
And then the next day they talked some more. Jade Benning reached out to her mom, Bridget, to her dad, Dennis. She told both of them. She talked to Nigeria a lot about it. She was happy. And on November 6th of 2022, she sent a message to Blaise Taylor, confirming her choice to the ultimatum that he gave her. There were no more messages between them. Not any messages until New Year's Eve. Jade Benning went to her November 16th, 2022 ultrasound, and Blaise Taylor was not there with her. She began planning. She was living in a 1-bedroom apartment. She began planning to get a 2-bedroom, and she just started doing all of the things that you do to get ready to have a baby. New Year's Eve, she didn't have to work that night, but she still went to the restaurant that she worked at. She went with her dad and her stepmom, and they were there with everybody at the restaurant for New Year's Eve. Blaise Taylor reached out to her on New Year's Eve, and after that night, they began speaking again. And the messages they sent back and forth, it was kind of trying to figure out what was going to be. Jade Benning ultimately expressed that she wanted a relationship with him. Blaise Taylor didn't go to any of Jade Benning's pregnancy appointments.
Okay, because they were booty buddies, probably. Just really quickly, this is a 30-second video. I just want to show you all this. This was after they won that big Vanderbilt RAPE case, where these football players got sent back. And just so y'all know, remember Coach Franklin, who went to Penn State? He literally was like out of town. And then 2 days later, all this news broke out of what had gone on. So I can't stand him. But real quick, so this was a huge, huge case for her. Big win.
Doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen
Oh, shoot. You can't even freaking hear it.
to a rape victim. And the media scrutiny and having it in the headlines every single time that there's a hearing and everything is streamed, people are commenting that, I mean, she's one of the strongest people that I know. She has incredible courage. And she is just
So she was just talking about the victim, but they, oftentimes those victims, they don't want to testify, right? It's embarrassing. But she really stood by her and was her champion. So I just wanted to share that's who we're looking at here. Thank you.
She had 3 in February before she died. He didn't go to the February 2nd appointment where she was going to find out if they were having a baby girl or a baby boy. She asked him to go, and he did not. The week before February 25th of 2023, that day is a Saturday. Earlier that week, Blaise Taylor went out of town on a work trip, and he came back early that Thursday morning, and Jade Benning wanted to see him. And they messaged. She went over to his house mid-morning for a little bit before he went to work, and she asked to see him that night. But he did not make that plan happen with her. And on Friday, she again wanted to see him. She went over, they went and ate at Waffle House. And she wanted to see him that night, and she messaged him. But he didn't return her message. Now, Blaise Taylor was messaging people that night. He specifically sent a message to Cynthia Winford that said, I love you, and I need you to love me back and be in love with me. That is the night of Friday, February 24th. Jade Benning asked Blaise Taylor again on Saturday the 25th if they could hang out and have a date night. And he agreed. And she told him to be at her house at 7 p.m. Wear comfy clothes. She had something planned. And she had already been talking to Jade Jackson about what she was going to do. She came up with an idea that they would do kind of like a sip and paint, not the sip because she was pregnant and she was not drinking any alcohol, but that they would paint and she would make dinner. She, the chef, Jade Benning, was going to make one of her specialties, chicken Alfredo. Now, Jade Jackson suggested that meal because it was her favorite. Najee wasn't eating chicken, but she wanted the Alfredo. She suggested it, and that day, Najee even said, I can stop by and get some food. Because Najee Jackson, her best friend, when she was 6 years old, had never met Blaise Taylor. The man that she was having a baby.
I know the audio kind of has that white noise sort of thing. I think since this was just today, I think they will filter that out. I mean, I could screen record it and take all that out, but it would take forever. I hear you, Dreamscape. But I was proud of my state because this courtroom looks nice, especially after the travesty we just saw in Miami. Peachy Keen, welcome as a new member. Yeah, Armand, exactly. So he doesn't want the child, therefore poisons her. Don't y'all wonder if a lot of people were getting these ideas after the Corey Richards debacle?
And so that day, Jade worked early in the day, but she went home, she got everything ready, she had canvases, she had paint, she took multiple pictures of everything, she cooked the dinner, she took pictures beforehand, and about 7 o'clock p.m., Blaise Taylor came over, and they ate dinner together, and then at 7:30, Jade Jackson, she had been at school, and one of her friends that she went to school with, Keontae Jones, was with her, and they stopped by to pick up food. They weren't planning on staying. They ended up being there for about 30 minutes, and they talked to them. Isaiah got to meet Blaise Taylor for the first time. They did both notice that Jade was drinking a pink drink. They didn't drink anything while they were there. Then they said goodbye. Right afterwards, Isaiah starts texting Jade, talking about the cute interaction they had, and they have a couple text messages. And that's at 8 p.m. An hour and a half later is the next time that Najee Jackson would hear from her best friend. And she did not sound the same at all. During that hour and a half time period, Jade was very active on her phone. She took pictures. There's a picture at 9:10 p.m. where you can kind of see a progress of the painting project. And you see Jade's painting. And she has the words love that she's painted on the painting. These paintings were for the baby's nursery because she was having a baby girl. And you'll see the painting that she has that says love, hope, inspire, peace. And then the digital forensics expert from Metro National Police Department will testify and explain that he can tell that Jade Benning not only was on Pinterest, but she actually searched. She was looking for inspiration for more words that were beautiful words of inspiration. So that's from 9:10 to 9:24. At 9:24, there are a series of 12 photos taken. The 12 photos are all pictures of Jade Benning and Blaise Taylor, and several of them have her painting in it. The last painting was at 9:10, and at 9:24, she had added words to the painting. She has added the words believe and beautiful and hope. Painted them on the painting. It's at 9:28 and 45 seconds. That is the last action that happens on Jade Benning's phone. That last 12 picture was deleted. And then at 9:29 and 27 seconds, Jade Benning's phone calls her best friend, Jade Jackson. And Jade Jackson will describe to you that her best friend was talking, but she wasn't talking to her. So much so, Najee immediately sent her 2 messages. Are you talking to me? What's going on? Because it was not normal. Her friend did not sound normal at all. She described her as sounding wavy, the way she was talking.
This happened in March of 2023.
She had known her since she was 6. She knew it wasn't, I'm not feeling well, something like I feel sick. She described it that her friend sounded scared. Her friend was talking to Blaise Taylor, and Jade Benning said, "What did you do? I can't feel my legs. I can't walk straight. What did you put in my drink? I knew my drink tasted funny. What's in your hand? Show me. Show me your pocket. What did you put in my drink? I knew my drink tasted funny. You did this because you didn't want the baby."
No, I don't think she's related to the other judge, Seth Norman. Fletcher, she went to Belmont, Jan Norman here, and then she got her degree in marketing and had a career in sales and realized it wasn't for her and went back and went to law school.
She was repeating, "What's in your hand?" At one point, he responded back to her, "Nothing." During the 6-minute and 9-second call, Jade Benning is screaming out to her friend who's not responding to her. She hears her friend say to Blaise Taylor, "You're scaring me." And his response was, "You're scaring me." After 6 minutes and 9 seconds, Jade's phone disconnected the call. Right before that call disconnected, Nigea, she was so confused as to what was going on, she merged her friend Keontae Jones into the call so that he could hear it. And at the end, Jade was trying to speak, but couldn't form words. He heard Jade, but couldn't make out anything that she was saying. That call began at 9:29 and 27 seconds. It was 6 minutes and 9 seconds long. At 9:50 p.m., EMTs arrived at the patient, Jade Benning, and she was pulseless. Nigea Jackson sped to her best friend's condo, and when she got there, Jade Benning was already in the back of the ambulance. They would not let her in to see her friend. She started jumping up and down so she could see in the little window, and she saw her friend, who was gray. Nigea Jackson, she goes to Vanderbilt ER, and Blaise Taylor, he goes there too. He had called 911. She goes to Vanderbilt Hospital. She talks to the medical staff. She hears him talking to the medical staff, and he is not telling them what Jade said. She tells them what she heard her best friend say. The first officers arrive an hour later, and Officer Pfeiffer, he hasn't talked to Nigea Jackson yet. He approaches Blaise Taylor and asks him what happened. Another officer talks to him, and then a detective talks to him, and when he talks to all three of those people, the scenario he gives is Jade started feeling bad. She threw up. I called my dad. My dad told me to call 911, and then I called 911. He tells Officer Pfeiffer, the first officer, that the person on the 911 call.
Okay, for those of you that have just come in, thank you. But real quick, so this is who Blaise Taylor's dad is. Trooper Taylor. I believe he might have been on staff briefly with the Titans, but he is the associate head coach offense of the Texas A&M football team of the running backs. And his salary is like $625,000 a year. I just looked that up. And then, so the attorney his son is using, she's from Texas, which is interesting. I mean, there's a lot of good attorneys in Nashville, but just makes you wonder. And then this guy that's on trial for all this, he is out on $2.5 million bond. So this hit the headlines in April of 24. So I think he was arrested like a month before. So he's been out basically like on house arrest type thing. But just wanted to share a little background. So we called his dad, Trooper Taylor, and his dad says, call 911. The hell?
Answered it, told him it was an allergic reaction. You will also be presented with that 911 call. That 911 call where the operator says to stay there, please give me the address of your emergency. He says, I don't know if on Donaldson, I'm with my friend and she's having an allergic reaction. He goes on to tell the 911 operator that she must be having an allergic reaction to something she ate. He doesn't tell the 911 operator anything about what Jade Benning said. And about 6 minutes and 25 seconds into that 911 call, which he called his dad, 45 seconds before he called 911. It was a 30-second phone call. Now that's several minutes after the call with Nigeria ended. Not a ton of time, but 2 to 3 minutes after that call ends. Places a call to his dad, 30-second call. He calls 911. But again, he's told all 3 people who later.
Okay, this is the trial of Blaise Taylor. It just started today. It was opening arguments. So this is the state of Tennessee opening. And he was a scout for the Titans. I mean, young, this happened in March of 23, and he had gotten a girl pregnant. Doesn't sound like they were in some serious relationship, and he did not want the baby. But to my knowledge, he wasn't married or anything. I swear I heard the defense attorney say in her opening, and we'll see in a minute, that they was screwing other people. Now, I had my earbud in, and I could not rewind because I was doing something. So I'm going to be very curious if that's what she said.
Oh, all 3 law enforcement. She grew up. I called my dad. I called 911. 6 minutes and 25 seconds into the 911 call, he tells them, I think she's throwing up. He never tells 911 that Jade Benning is his girlfriend. He never tells them she's pregnant. The doctors at Vanderbilt, they were able to return spontaneous circulation, which means they were able to get Jade's heart to beat again. But the damage that was done to her brain, she never regained any brain activity, and she was on life support.
That's why right there,
On March
from wifey, she was on life support for a few weeks. So that's why she's saying that.
6th of 2025, Jade Benning and her unborn baby girl on her 25th birthday, she was removed from life support. Dr. Erin Carney with the medical examiner's office, she performed the autopsy on Jade Benning and her unborn baby girl. Dr. Carney already knew about Jade Benning before she ever died. She had already been contacted about her case because it was very unusual. And on February 28, 2023, she requested Jade's first blood sample, that it be retained and saved for testing. She performed the autopsy and she verified there was absolutely nothing wrong with Jade's baby. Had she remained alive, her pregnancy would have continued and she would have had a baby girl. Dr. Carney will testify and tell you that the cause of Jade Benning's death was acute cocaine toxicity, a level higher than anything she has ever seen in any overdose death. You will also hear from another witness, Miss Apple Denny. She dated Blaise Taylor her freshman year of college. It was back in 2017. She was a freshman in college and she became pregnant. And she was not ready to be a mother at all. And she made the decision. He was with her. She made the decision to have an abortion. And Blaise Taylor went to those appointments with Miss Denny. They explained to her she had 2 options. And he was in those appointments, they talked about it, and she made a decision to have that abortion herself. Several months later, she will also describe to you a time when Blaise Taylor came to her in somewhat of a panic. And he told her that while they were on a break, he had slept with another woman. Xavier Winford, and she was pregnant, and she was refusing to have an abortion. And Apple Denny will tell you that Blaise Taylor asked her if she would go to the abortion clinic and get the abortion pill so that he could put it in Xavier Winford's drink to cause an abortion without her knowing. Miss Denny told him no, and
Oh,
also
wow.
told him
I
that
missed
wasn't
that.
even possible.
So Blaise got a girl pregnant in college and wanted to slip an abortion pill in her drink. Is that what she was just saying? That's a trend.
And she will describe to you that he then began talking about what else could he put in her drink that would cause an abortion. Jade Benning's last words. What did you put in my drink? I knew my drink tasted funny. You did this because you didn't want me. After you have heard all of the evidence, we will ask you to return a verdict of guilty on all 4 counts of the indictment.
Yeah, I love that she did not read. She spoke to the jury. Y'all know who would like this? Carl. He would like it. All right. So now we're going to go to the defense. Ooh. She is something. Get ready. But she does disparage the victim. Because we have closed captions, I'm putting this at 1.2 speed. You know, it's Tuesday. You know what tomorrow is? Hump day. And y'all know whose favorite day that is. Hey, Lolly, Anna, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Mrs. Georgia and Shy Gal and Peachy and just everybody. So happy y'all are here. This is gonna be a good one. Oh, and this judge, he is already done with this defense attorney.
Yes.
Good morning. As we talked about yesterday, this is a very, very serious situation, as you know. And so again, I thank you. I thank you for coming back. I thank you for coming yesterday. And I thank you for taking very serious, and I know that because of the answers you gave us yesterday, this process in our judicial system. I too want to tell you the story of Jade Benning and Blaise Taylor. But as you can imagine, it's quite different. And you're going to hear over the course of this entire trial a lot of information. And if any of you are like me, it's easier to compartmentalize things so that as you hear the evidence, you can dump them in a bucket. And that way, at the end of the trial, a week or so later, it won't be so difficult to remember what you've heard. And so what I want you to do is I want you to think about things before, think about during the incident, and after the incident. Think about things before the incident, and the incident is going to be February 25th of 2023. Before the incident, during the incident, and after the incident. It will help you. So let's talk about before. Before, I want you to know who Blaise Taylor was and who Jade Benning was. Blaise is the oldest of 2 children. He is the son of Ebby and Trooper Taylor. Blaise has a younger sister, Star Taylor. Blaise's father is a football coach, a college football coach. And I've since learned that living a football coach's life and on that level, takes you around several places across the country. And so they traveled a lot. They lived in a lot of different places because Dad worked in a lot of different places. And Blaise got his education from the University of Arkansas, where he graduated in 3 years with his master's degree in business administration. After that, he began working. And he ended up, after a few jobs, working for the Tennessee Titans as a pro scout. That is where, here in Tennessee, is where he meets Jade. But what's also important to know is that throughout Blaise's life, even when he played football, even when he was in college, he never drank and he never did any drugs. No alcohol and no drugs, never in his life. I want to now show you who Jade Benning is and was. She was a beautiful young lady. She was an aspiring chef. And she too was from Arkansas. And she moved to Tennessee after graduating from culinary school to become a chef and work at Ernest's Hideaway Grill and Bar. But different than Blaise, Jade was involved with alcohol, and Jade was involved with drugs. And that is where they differ. But what they are alike, as you've heard, just as Blaise was casually dating young women, Jade Benning was casually dating young men. And so that is who they were before the incident.
Okay, I'd never heard of this Ernest Hideaway. Maybe you have, Fletcher Boy. So I just looked, and doesn't look like it's doing too well. Says temporarily closed. It's on the Houston Street. There's so many places now in Nashville you can't even keep up. But I wonder if this had something to do with her. See, December of 24, co-owner Chris Weber shared that they would be closing to make way for, oh, it was a fast casual concept. Anyway, I don't know. I just thought I'd share.
Now let's talk about Blaise and Jade and their relationship. Blaise and Jade met on Hinge, a dating app, in January of 2022. They exchanged a few messages, but never really hooked up. It went into February of 2022 when Blaise reached out to Jade, but yet she never returned the message. About a month later, she returns the message and says, "Oh, I've been busy, but it's good to speak with you." And then they went dead for a while. They didn't talk again until August of 22. In August of 22 is when they actually met up. August the 10th, they met and they had dinner. And after that, they began a relationship. They began casually dating each other, but they were not exclusive. He wasn't exclusive with her, and she wasn't exclusive with him. You will hear that he dated other women, and you will hear that she dated other men. And they were both okay with that because that was the agreement that those two adults had come to. They had agreed that they would have a sexual relationship, but they would still date other people. And as adults, you will hear that that is what they decided to do. You will hear that they probably started having sex somewhere around August. Remember, they met August 10th. So by August 23rd or so, you will hear that they probably began their sexual relationship. So from August 23rd until November 2nd, they started dating. They would see each other, they would hang out. I believe that the restaurant where Jade worked was very close to Blaise's house, and it was convenient because of their schedules for Jade to go over to Blaise's house after she got off work. And she would spend the night there. He would get up and go to work in the morning. She would sleep late and get up and leave whenever she got up. Now you will hear sometime around November 1st of 22. Jade believes that she may be pregnant. And you will hear that she's having a conversation with Jade. And what they're trying to figure out is who the father is. And you will hear that they weren't sure if it was Blaise's child or if it was some guy named Des' child. And so they talked a bit and they talked about who she was having sex with the most. And it appeared that Nigeria thought that she was having sex with Des the most. But apparently, you'll be able to hear that ultimately Jade landed on Blaise. And Nigeria agreed and said, oh, well, it must be Blaise's. And you'll hear that it is at that time that Jade makes the decision that she's going to tell Blaise that she's pregnant with his child. And so you kind of deduct, you'll be able to deduct that she did talk to Blaise around November the 4th. And on November the 4th, it is clear that she tells Blaise, this baby is yours and not Blaise. And you'll hear that it's true that Blaise, at that time, was not ready to be a father. With the woman he met less than 90 days ago, who was casually dating other people just like he was. And he did not want to go forward with the pregnancy. That's clear. He was 27, he wasn't married, he really didn't know her. And clearly he suggested alternative methods. And he suggested it to her because it was something that she had agreed to do with someone else in the past. But Jade wanted to keep this child. She wanted to give birth to Blaise's baby. And so what you'll hear though is that they had a difference of opinion and that they were at an impasse. And so clearly they had talked about it from November the 4th until November the 6th. Because on November the 6th, you will learn that it was Jade who told Blaise, clearly, there's no agreement that we're going to come to here, and I'm not changing my mind. So what I suggest is you go your way, I go mine. You don't have to be involved with the baby if that's what you want to do. I will go on and I will love this baby with or without you. My next appointment is on this day. If you want to be there, you can. But if not, this is the decision that I made. You'll hear that that's the decision that Jade made for herself. Now, what's important is that after that, what you won't hear is that Blaise was forcing her, pressuring her, continuously calling her or texting her, trying to force her to abort this baby. You won't hear that. You will hear that from the moment she made that decision for herself and told him, you go your way and I'll go mine, that he did not contact her again. You will hear that he honored her wishes. You will hear that he gave her the space that she asked him. But then you'll hear that some time had passed. It would have been enough time to have passed to where she had passed the stage of where abortion would be a viable option. You'll hear that he told his parents, and he told his parents that he had met a young lady by the name of Jade. She was a chef, and he was possibly going to have a child. And what you'll hear is that he then at that time, after making that decision to tell his parents, he contacted Jade on December the 31st. And she responded via text, I'm at work or what have you. And you'll see that on that very same day, she texted Nigeria, her best friend, and said, you won't believe this. Because she had a missed call from Blaise. And that ultimately, on January 1st of 2023, they met up at a park at Jade's suggestion. She suggested, let's go to a park.
Hey, Fletcher boy, you said you're going to try to go in the morning too. I am too. So look for me. I don't know what you look like, but you know what I look like. I'm going to go as well. I'm hoping today was just more crowded because it was opening.
And he honored her wishes again and met her at the park. And it appears that they sat in that park and they talked for almost 5 hours. And they had made the decision that they were going to try to get to know each other so that if the baby was in fact Blaise's, because Blaise asked for a paternity test, which made sense, that they needed to know each other if they were going to have to co-parent this child. And you will hear from Najee herself that it was at this time that Blaise made every effort to do that, to get to know her, to participate. And so remember this is January 1st, so over the next month and a half, 3 weeks until February 25th, they dated, they saw each other, they hung out, they spent time together, and they were getting to know each other. Now you'll hear that Jade did have doctor's appointments, and she did want Blaise to attend. But what you'll hear is that she told him about one appointment, which was, in fact, February the 6th, I believe. And she was going to find out the gender of the baby on that day. And you'll hear that she asked Blaise to come. And Blaise said, I need to check to see what's going on at work. I don't know what's going on at work. And if I can make it, I will. You'll hear he didn't make it. But you'll also hear that the next appointment she had was about 4 days later, but it was for a blood test. It wasn't necessarily another actual visit, the monthly maternity visits. That one was not until March 9th. And by that time, unfortunately, she had already passed.
Hey, Tiff Knox. Jade was 25. So this happened, 3 years ago? And Blaise is now 30, so he was 27.
And you'll hear that during this time that they were split, and when Blaise was dating Xavier, Jade, now knowing that she was pregnant, was dating other men as well. In fact, there were 3 other men that she was dating in December. And you'll hear that we know that for sure because she was sending naked pictures to them in December. And there were 3 men, 3 different men, that she sent naked pictures to from December the 3rd through almost towards the end of December. So yes, you will hear
I mean, that is awful.
that they both were dating different people.
I swear I heard something about screwing, but I haven't heard it.
Now, we'll go to February 25th of 2023. Now, what's also important to know before we get there, you'll find that Jade was involved with drugs prior to the day that this happened, prior to the day that she was diagnosed with acute cocaine toxicity that caused her death.
Okay, so did y'all just hear what she said? She said that Jade was involved in drugs. Okay, y'all need to just remember that.
You'll hear that she was involved with marijuana. You'll hear that she was involved with Adderall. You will hear that she was involved with the weed cartridges. I think they call it resin. You'll hear that she was involved with mushrooms, that she would take mushrooms. And you will hear that she also drank a lot until she was drunk oftentimes. In fact, you'll hear that during maybe a day or so before she and Najee was having this conversation about who was the father, and it was Blaise's, that she was inviting Najee to share mushrooms with her. And you'll hear on the same day that she learned that she was pregnant, that Najee was asking her to call Daz to reach out for some drugs. Fast forward to February 23rd. On this day, during the incident, You'll hear that Jade, in fact, did spontaneously plan a date night with Blaise, where she was going to cook, where she wanted to do the paint and sip, I believe Najee calls it. Painting with a twist, I believe it is. And that's the where you paint and drink and have alcohol. But according to Najee, they weren't going to have any alcohol because remember, even Najee is going to tell you that she knew Blaise did not drink. And so, as she planned this date spontaneously, she reaches out to Blaise around noon that day. He didn't know that she was going to call him. And says, hey, what are you doing tonight? Will you be free? And he says, yeah, what do you want to do? What's going on? It was a little cold that day, so he wanted to know, what did you want to do? What should I wear? She says, dress comfortably and come to the house around 7. And he says, sure, I can do that. Now, what you hear when she was planning this date night, she was planning it with Najee. What should I cook and what should we do? And Najee says, well, I want some chicken Alfredo. So why don't you cook that? And Jade says, okay, that sounds good. Now, what's important to know is that Jade was a very ambitious young lady and she had her own business, JTP Eatery, which was like a small catering company. And when she would cook, you'll learn that some of her food would be infused with marijuana. In fact, you'll hear that her chicken Alfredo she would sell would be infused with marijuana, and cookies and brownies and things of that sort. So she makes the decision to have this date night with Blaise, and she and Najee talk about it. And then at that point, Najee says, well, I want some chicken Alfredo too. And Jade says, well, I'll put you some up for tomorrow. But Najee says, and now we're in the bucket of jury, just so that you're oriented. Najee says, well, no, I want to come tonight, even though she's planning a date night with Blaise. She's now inviting herself into Jade's date night. And so she shows up, I would say, we know around 7:22, she sends a message, I'm on my way. And when she gets there, she brings a friend, Keontae, and she tells Jade, I want to bring Keontae too, because he wants some too. So we're both gonna come into your date night. And they show up and they stay there, but not for long. But what you'll hear is that when they showed up, Blaise invites them to stay. Hey, why don't you guys stay and play cards? And he had a deck of Uno cards that he was playing with. And he says, let's play Uno. And then he asks, well, do you guys know how to play spades? And Najee says, no, I don't know how to play spades. And so he says, well, you guys should stay, hang on. But Najee says, well, no, I don't want to intrude. We'll leave. And so we know that by 8:03, she was gone. Because she sends this text after spending that 20 minutes or so with Jade and Blaise. That was a cute interaction. What you won't hear is that she sent any text as if there was anything nefarious going on. You will hear that she describes that moment as a cute interaction. And you'll hear that Jade responds and says, yes, Blaise says, we should hang out again, or you guys should have stayed. And Najee responds, well, no, I did not want to intrude on your date night, so we left. Fast forward to about 9:28. So this interchange went on from about 8:03 until about 8:12. Then you'll know about 9:28, what you're going to find is that Jade and Blaise, specifically Jade, was taking selfies with Blaise. And you'll find that the selfies were them kissing and laughing and joking and having a great time. You'll see those photos. And you'll see that they were taken from Jade's phone. But then less than a minute later, you'll hear that Najee gets this call. And the call, I want to make sure that I say it right. The call, less than 60 seconds later, Najee describes it as, It was the most wimpiest voice I've ever heard. Those were her words. The scariest thing I've ever heard. She was freaking out. I never heard anything like it. She was fighting for her life. It was as if she was in danger. She says that she overheard her saying, "You put something in my drink." What did you put in my drink? But what you'll learn is that when Jade is making these accusations per Nigeria, that Nigeria sends a text back saying, "Are you talking to me?" So when Jade is making these accusations, Nigeria's response is, "Oh, are you talking to me?" You won't hear that she says, "What are you talking about? Who are you talking to?" You're going to hear that her response to those allegations are you talking to me? Within that moment, as they're describing, it was as if she was in danger and she was alone, per Nigeria, in the apartment with the man that Nigeria says was trying to kill her best friend. Nigeria never calls 911. No. Instead, she says that as Jade's voice was whimpering and going down as if she was going to pass out, that Jade had enough voice to say, "Call Keontae. Call Keontae on the 3." But what you're going to find is that Nigeria says she really didn't know. Jade really didn't know Keontae. But according to Nigeria, Jade wants her to call Keontae. You won't hear her say that Jade wanted her to call 911 or call her father.
I need a family tree or a friend tree because I'm already confused.
If she wants her to call the guy she doesn't really know on the 3. And Nigeria says she doesn't. And after she calls the gentleman, Keontae on the 3-way, what you'll hear about Keontae is that he will tell you, "Yes, I was on the call." And her voice Jade's voice wasn't really, I couldn't really make things out. But I didn't hear the things that Nigeria said. I didn't hear those things. And what you'll also find is that with all the danger that Nigeria described, all these fear and everything that her best friend was going through, Keontae didn't call 911 either. What you're going to find is that there was only one person that night that called 911. Because Jade didn't call 911 either. You'll hear that with all of this medical emergency, all of these things that were going on with this young lady, there was only one person who called the police, who called for help. And that was Blaise. And you'll hear the 911.
Plenty of murderers that call 911. I mean, what was she trying to prove here? Yes, beach bum, her strategy, dazzle and confuse. Absolutely.
And I promise you. And you'll have the opportunity to hear everything that he said and everything that he did. But you won't hear one 911 call between Jade, Nigeria, or Keontae. And you'll hear the panic in Blaise's voice. You'll hear where he's running around trying to find the address.
Yeah, great point, True Crime Wifey. Blaise called 911 after he called his dad in Texas and asked what to do, and his dad said call 911.
He didn't know the address by heart that way, just like Nigeria didn't know the address. Because later you will find that the police.
Yeah, I was thinking, isn't Keontae, isn't that wine?
Police asked Nigeria for the address too. And remember, she had just been there earlier, and she had to call to get the address. And you'll hear that eventually EMS showed up. And what's very important to know is that when EMS shows up and they get in that apartment 107, Jade was in a significant or stable enough condition that they did not perform CPR inside of the apartment. So you'll hear that whatever stress, whatever condition Jade was in, it wasn't significant enough for EMS to begin CPR right then at that moment. And those medical professionals will have to tell you that if it was dire enough that way, they would have had to give her CPR right then and there. They will tell you that. They will tell you that if the stress and condition that that young lady was in was so dire, they would not have waited to give her CPR once they got her on the back of the ambulance truck. So then you'll hear that Blaise was the one who ran out and met the ambulance outside and showed them where the apartment was. Because the apartment is such that you're really not going to know where the apartment is unless someone kind of directs you. So you'll hear that he went out and did that. And you'll hear that he never went back upstairs after EMS got here. When EMS left, he did too. And by then you'll hear that Nigeria was there and she too followed the ambulance truck. And when they get to the hospital, it was Blaise who showed and helped Nigeria park. And so they go into the hospital, they rush Jade in, she's in critical condition by this time. And Vanderbilt is doing everything they can to give her the services that they need, that she needs. And you'll hear that Nigeria in the hospital starts with these allegations. This is where Nigeria starts telling the social worker there at Vanderbilt, Blaise did something to her. Blaise put something in her drink, and these are the things that she was saying. And the investigation begins. And now we're at after. Oh, I'm sorry, I moved the wrong way. And then you'll hear that while they're at the hospital, Blaise never leaves. He stays there the entire time. When her mother calls, he answers the phone. When the police questions him, he answers the questions. When another police officer questions him, he answers those questions. When another police officer questions him, he answers those questions. You'll hear that he cooperated with every authority there. And not one time while he was at the hospital being questioned.
Oh yeah, he cooperates and answering, but he's hand jiving big time, like somebody else we know in Texas.
Being accused of being the person who caused this. Did he ask for a lawyer? Did he exercise his right to the Fifth Amendment? Not one time. He did what he thought you will hear that he was supposed to do. But what you'll hear with Nigeria is that at some point during the night, she's questioned as well. And you'll hear that those police officers tells her, we need to talk to this Keontae guy too, for obvious reasons. And you'll hear that Keontae, although he comes to the hospital, he meets Nigeria in the parking lot. And you'll hear that when police officers have told her, we need to talk to this guy, she doesn't alert the police officers that he even showed up. She doesn't tell them that, hey, that witness to my best friend's medical episode, he's in the parking lot, come get his story. Instead, you will hear that she talks to him and then he leaves without talking to anyone, without giving anyone the side of his story of what happened. You'll also hear that she left again. And what's important to know is this, that you'll hear by this time, that apartment, based on Nigeria's allegations, is a crime scene. And that even though it's a crime scene, and that even though Officer Fish, who was one of the initial responding officers, told Jade Benning's stepmother and mother, someone Nigeria was in constant contact with throughout the night, as you can imagine. Nobody in that apartment, nobody out. It's shut down. It is a crime scene. There should be no one in that place. We need to go in there and figure out what happened. You're going to hear that Jade's friend, Lauren Weber, Nigeria's friend, Lauren Weber, and another young lady went inside that apartment anyway. And that even though they weren't supposed to go in there and touch him, that she removed items out of that apartment. She locked it up, and then she brought her Jade's purse and ID to the hospital. And you're going to hear that when the police officers hear this, and they learn that some people had entered this crime scene, that they said that that crime scene was contaminated. You'll hear that law enforcement says that themselves. And then you're going to hear that Nigeria and 3 more other people went inside that apartment with gloves on and removed crucial evidence and kept it for 24 hours before they turned it over to the police. They gave it to her mother. Evidence of the crime, they grabbed it, removed it, and kept it. You're going to hear now one time when Nigeria was speaking to those police officers, did she tell them, hey, I'm about to go over here to Jade's house, you know, the crime scene, and we're going to go over there and help you guys out and remove evidence for you. She never says that. She never tells them that. They have to find that out through Jade's mother. You're going to also find that Nigeria had Jade's phone during this time and had gone into the phone. And we know that it couldn't have been Jade because by now Jade was in critical condition and in a coma and was manipulating through the phone. And so you hear that at some point Nigeria leaves the hospital, but Blaise is still there. And he doesn't leave until Jade's mother gets there. And that you'll hear that he helped her find a parking space too. He ran out there and said, you know, save the parking space as well. And you'll hear by now, it's over. Jade is in critical condition. She's pretty much on life support. She had suffered a significant brain injury as a result of losing oxygen to the brain. And you'll hear that there was, in fact, laboratory evidence, the blood, the urine. You're going to hear a lot of stuff about that. And yes, you're going to hear that there was an awful amount of cocaine in her system. But what you're going to hear is that the integrity of those vials of blood and urine were such that the results of those blood tests does not make sense. The experts are going to have to tell you that it was too much cocaine for Jade to take on her own, and too much cocaine for Blaise to have slipped in a drink and her not notice. But you're going to hear there's so many issues with the way the lab dealt with that there's not a medical professional alive who would rely on those results. They're going to have to tell you that. But what they are going to have to tell you is this, as a result of those toxicology results, is that in Jade's system was cocaine.
If they were playing Uno, I will wear an owl t-shirt to court tomorrow. There is no freaking way. Yes, I think she is trying to. She's just poking holes, trying to give all this doubt against the lab, against the best friend. I did look. It looks like the cup was missing, but, it could have been, what's-a-majiggy, Blaise that moved it. We don't know.
And you're going to learn that cocaine is where cocaine and alcohol meets up in your system at the same time. You're going to hear that there is no other way the metabolite cocaine can appear. No way. You can't take an alcohol at 7 o'clock and then did a bump of cocaine at 9 and you form cocaine. You're going to hear that you can't take a drink of alcohol at 7:30 and take a bump of cocaine at 8. It has to be at the same time that cocaine was present in Jade's system. And you're going to hear that it was at levels such that it would have had to have been some time that had passed for it to be there in the fashion that it was. You're going to hear that at the end of this, that the medical examiner, Dr. Carney, Dr. Aaron Carney, performed the autopsy on Jade Benning. And what you'll learn is that an autopsy is, what they like to say is that it's not done in a vacuum. And what that basically means is you can't just look at the body to determine what happened. You have to factor in surrounding circumstances as well. And what you'll learn is that there are two things that the medical examiner is responsible for doing: determining the cause of death and the manner of death. The cause of death is going to be the medical issue that caused you to die. And the manner of death, you'll learn, to be only 5 things. It can be natural causes, accident, it could be undetermined, it could be homicide, and it could be suicide. It's going to always fall in one of those 5 buckets. And because it's not done in a vacuum, you have to look at the surrounding circumstances before you come to a conclusion as to which bucket those 5 land in. And what you're going to see is the medical examiner, the medical professional, the person that we rely on to come to a conclusion professionally as to what happened in regards to the manner of death for Ms. Benning. You're going to hear that even she could not come to the conclusion of homicide. And homicide just means you died at the hands of another. Doesn't necessarily mean a crime occurred. It just means that you died at the hands of another. You're going to hear that Dr. Carney is going to get on that stand. Remember, we talked about that's where your evidence will come from. And she's going to have to tell you, I cannot rule this a homicide. And the reason she's going to tell you she cannot rule this a homicide is because of the circumstances surrounding Ms. Benning's death. And that she ruled it undetermined. What that basically means is that she could not come to a conclusion. Now you will hear from Apple Denning. And Apple is someone that Blaise dated when he was in college, some 6 years before this happened. And you'll hear that Apple is from Arkansas, Jade is from Arkansas, Najee is from Arkansas.
I'm so confused. Fletcher, I know it was cool seeing the Nashville Fire and Police. I swear one of the police officers looked familiar. There's always a lot of police at my work. I'll just leave it at that.
And a friend named Ariane Jordan is from Arkansas. And you'll hear that Ariane heard about Ms. Benning's death. She heard about the allegations that it was Najee who was saying it was Blaise that did it. And that within days of Ms. Benning's death, she told Apple. And you're going to hear that even though Apple says that Blaise was trying to poison Xavier Winfrey, she never goes to the police right then and there and says, Blaise was trying to kill someone else. Just like this situation. You're going to hear it was months before she gets that. But you're going to hear a lot of other things too about Ms. Benning. You're going to hear that just as recent as April of this year, that on her to-do list was to put Blaise in prison. And she posted. You're going to
Well, go girl.
hear that there were times that she felt, let me back that up. There are times that she made other false allegations against Blaise. And one of those allegations is going to be that while she was out of her apartment one day, Blaise had snuck in somehow when he was living in Tennessee and she was in Arkansas, and moved her bed over, or moved her furniture over a few inches, and then left. And she called the police to tell them. Blaise snuck in my apartment and moved my furniture to a court in just a minute. And that you'll hear that in spite of all of that she still said Blaise was the best thing that ever happened to her when it was appropriate to do so. And you'll hear just 2 weeks before this incident that she was on social media trying to determine who Blaise was dating. You'll learn that that is FOD. So I don't want you to lose focus at the end of this trial. I want you to do what you promised you would do. That you will look at the facts of this case based on the allegations before you, and not things that the state throws in to give you a red herring, to pull on your heartstrings. Stay focused on the evidence about whether or not that at the end of the day, much like Dr. Carney, did you hear enough evidence, not whether it's sad and tragic, because it is, that a young lady lost her life? Because I also want you to know, and I almost failed to forget to tell you this, that there was also fentanyl found in this baby system, not just.
Yeah, there probably was fentanyl because when he bought the cocaine, it was probably laced with fentanyl like every drug these days.
That at the end of the trial, in the same way that Dr. Carney cannot rule this a homicide, you can. Realistic, honest, to lay your head down at night, get to the conclusion that it was Blaise Taylor who caused Ms. Benning's death. Because when you think about before, during, and after, because whenever it's a circumstantial case, that's what you have to do. That there's nothing that will lead you to a conclusion that beyond a reasonable doubt, that it was Blaise Taylor who caused it. And so I'm asking, Blaise Taylor is asking, his family is asking, and justice is asking.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. All right. I pulled up her website. I was going to show y'all something, Letitia. But then you have to see this moment. She got really busted in today in court. Hold on. So here is her website. And yeah, what are you talking about, Peachy Keen? You were stuck in a Nashville hotel? Just one, John. I mean, one's too many. Peachy Keen. Oh, it was in Chattanooga. Oh, I was like, what is that? Okay. Letitia Quinones Hollins. But I want to read y'all her, these are some of her big cases that she's won. The state of Texas versus Arkema, directed verdict after a 6-week trial. Stand Your Ground case, the state of Texas versus Crystal Scott, a young Black woman charged with murdering a young white male after he viciously threatened her, dismissed before trial. State of Texas versus Noel Dean, a young Black man falsely accused of murdering his wife. The case was dismissed in the middle of the trial. Are y'all seeing a common theme? The state of Texas versus Chad Hawley, a young Black man beaten by officers. The state of Texas versus Johnny Jolly, Green Bay Packers NFL player. I have to think this has some connection to her dad. It's very crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Great defense. Gaslight, alienate, blame, right? All right. So first thing before we get to her lying, cheating, we have to go and look at this witness who was the OBGYN. Oh, there's Blue River's guy over here to the left, middle. That's Ned Flanders. Blue River called that out. It's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. So this is the OBGYN.
You swear to testimony you're about to give the truth, so I do.
still barely morning, so could you please state your name?
Allison Blount,
And could you please spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Alison, Mullally, Mullally.
And do you practice a profession?
Yes, I'm an OBGYN.
And so would that mean you are Dr. Mullally?
Yes, I'm a physician.
And how long have you been practicing?
I've been practicing for about 30 years if you include residency.
And don't need to go into all that much detail about your educational background, but where did you go?
Yeah, it looks like the bailiffs wear suits. Isn't that interesting? I can't say I've ever been to criminal court. I know, I just thought it was odd. This sweater is so heavy, but it's short sleeve. She's skinny too, so she's probably always cold.
Undergraduate and then medical school?
Undergraduate at UT Knoxville, and then I went to medical school at UT Memphis, and I did my residency at UT Memphis.
So somebody today, I don't remember who it was on some channel, was like, "Are you watching that trial? Everybody talks like you."
Also.
And with respect to the specialty, would that be the obstetrics gynecology?
Yes, that was the 4 years of residency.
OB/GYN.
Oh, yes, obstetrics and gynecology.
And has that been essentially your primary, if not only, area of practice for the last 25, 30 years?
Yes.
Where is your practice currently located?
I'm at Vanderbilt Franklin Women's Center, which is in Franklin, Tennessee, and it's right next to Williamson Medical Center.
So is it a part of the Vanderbilt Medical?
That's just crazy. So years ago when I was a pharmaceutical rep, we had a hot minute where we were pushing prenatal vitamins. Don't ask. I mean, you sell whatever the drug company gives you. But I used to call on this place, but she doesn't look familiar.
Umbrella.
Yes, it's part of VUMC, but I don't practice at Vanderbilt Hospital. We just do our deliveries and our surgeries at Williamson Medical Center.
So is it essentially full service there where you can do examinations all the way through delivery?
Yes, our office is right sort of in front of the hospital where we do our deliveries.
Right. And how long have you been at that specific location?
Since August of 2001.
So then were you there in 2022 and on into
Yes,
2023?
yes.
And during a time in late 2022, did you come to have a patient named Jade Benning?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately when she became your patient?
She came to see me for her first study visit on November 16th of 22.
And was there any show referral? Did you have any relative of hers as a patient?
Well, no, I have known her stepmother for a long time.
Oh,
Andrea, yes.
so was that a connection at least
Yes.
through the acquaintanceship?
Yes.
And I believe you said she came to you November 16th. That was the first
Yes.
visit. Had you ever met Ms. Benning before?
No.
Or had her as a patient?
No, she had been seen in our office by one of the nurse practitioners.
I think this is all very planned. I think they tell her to wear that because they want the jurors to focus on her and not like a really pretty outfit. I mean, I agree. I would have on like a navy or a deep jewel green. But what they're showing is that she did not ever test for any drugs or anything like that. But let's get to Miss Letitia's cross because
It was in the history that she had a prior pregnancy, and I don't recall if she had a miscarriage or a termination. A lot of patients don't like to discuss that, so I don't really dwell on that for very long. So it's documented in the record, just non-specifically.
Is that relevant to
It's
any
not.
treatment that you would provide or did provide?
No.
And first appointment, was she there on time?
Yes.
Do you recall whether or not anyone came with her to to that first appointment?
I believe she was by herself. I know she never had a male partner with her. I think Andrea may have come to an appointment or two, but it was maybe a later one.
By Andrea, Ms. Browning?
Yes.
I think it's a really pretty sweater set. I will just tell y'all. Not that it has to look expensive to be nice, but I mean, I think she's just trying to look conservative, professional.
Your sound.
I called her, I think on the 6th.
I'm just trying to get to the.
No.
There he is. There's Blaise.
You'll ask about the time. Did she ever miss any visit with
Okay.
Miss Jade Benning in your treatment of her?
Patient's last menstrual period,
Oh, Lord, here we go.
if that's the problem. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good,
Just so y'all know, there's no closed captioning on this part.
thank you. I am Letitia Quinones Collins. Can I ask you a few questions? At any time you don't understand, let me know. I'll do my best to rephrase.
Okay.
Thank you. Just a few questions for you, Dr. McLaughlin. Will you tell me, am I saying that right? Dr.
Malawi.
Malawi. Dr. Malawi, can you tell me, have you been able to determine when Ms. Benning would have become pregnant based on your examination of her?
Well, by her dates, she would have conceived roughly 2 weeks after her first day of her last period.
Okay. And the first day of her last period was what?
I don't remember that. I have to look.
Will you trust me if I tell you that I just looked in the records that you just reviewed and we got into evidence? If that date was, patient's last menstrual period was September 12th, 2022?
Yes.
Do you see that there on page 1 of 8?
Yes.
And so then you will tell me then that her date of conception would have been 2 weeks after that?
Yes.
And that would put us, September has 30 days in it, does it not?
Yes.
And if we put 14 days past that, that puts us at September 26th. Is that right?
Yes.
So then we would be safe to say that by September 26th of 22, Ms. Benning would have been pregnant.
Roughly, yes.
And what day was she in your office?
November 16th.
And that is the day that she was diagnosed, if that's the proper term, of being pregnant.
Well, it was confirmed to be an intrauterine pregnancy.
Okay, confirmed to be pregnant. Fair enough. So would it then be safe to say that if September was the last time she had a period, she did not have a period then in October?
Correct.
Now, you stated on direct examination that the patient did not or was not involved in any drugs, to your knowledge. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, to be fair, you did not test her for drugs, did you?
No.
So you're only going off of what she's sharing with you. Is that right?
Yes, and somewhat by her vital signs and her demeanor.
But you'll agree with me that certainly someone's vital signs and demeanor is not indicative as to whether or not they're using drugs.
Not always, correct.
Would it be surprising to know that Ms. Benning had sent a message to Ms. Jade Jackson that she was doing so much Adderall and
I
alcohol?
object to the hearsay that's be outside the scope of the witness's knowledge.
May I respond?
And whether it's surprising or not is relevant.
What's your response?
Yes, there's just been an allegation that Ms. Benning has not done any drugs in her
You said to her knowledge. Now they're objecting to hearsay.
It's in regards to impeachment.
Do you want to ask if she had any information about that?
Dr. McLeod, did you know that, or would you have known that Ms. Benning had felt that she was doing so much alcohol and Adderall that it was
No, I
causing?
sustained an objection.
Can I give you a hypothetical?
Yes.
If a patient,
Check this witness has not been considered as an
Hypothetical
expert.
about what?
about a patient doing drugs or alcohol.
You want
Ma'am.
to ask this doctor if they want their patient using alcohol or Adderall while they're pregnant?
No, I don't. What I would like to do,
What's your question?
what I would like to
What's
do,
your question?
my question is whether or not, based on this doctor's statement, that Ms. Benning was not doing drugs and nor alcohol, and that she would be able to tell by her vital signs.
Is that your question you're wanting to ask this lady?
The question I would like to ask her is whether or not someone feeling as though they're doing so much Adderall and alcohol, their body is shutting
She
down.
doesn't have any knowledge about that, and I'm sustaining the hearsay objection.
So am I not allowed to ask
I
this?
sustain the hearsay objection about your question.
Let me ask you in another way, if I may. Did Ms. Benning ever share with you that she was doing Adderall?
No,
Did she ever share with you that in November she was doing mushrooms?
no,
Did she ever share with you that she was doing alcohol?
no,
Did she ever share with you as her medical professional that she felt like she was doing so much Adderall and alcohol that her body was shutting down?
no.
If she would have shared that with you, would that change your previous statement in regards to that she was not doing any drugs?
If she told you she was using drugs, that would change your opinion about whether she was using drugs, is what she's asking.
Yes,
Okay.
Fair enough, thank you. But what you've just represented to this jury, is it not, Dr. McClellan, was that based on your knowledge and representations to you by Ms. Bennings, she was not doing any drugs or alcohol at all, is that correct?
correct.
Thank you.
Any other? Andy, read your record.
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
May this witness be excused?
Sure. You get it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to forward to the popcorn. Oh, so the jury's excused. They stand up. Hold on. I mean, so earlier, was I on mute when I showed y'all her website? I feel like I maybe was. She's had a lot of like things thrown out, mistrial, directed verdicts. I just think she's a snake. I don't think it. I mean, I pretty much have seen that. Okay.
It's not in any,
Okay. So now
it's not,
the state's getting up there after she's just been reading a text that she says was Jade.
Something that came up during Ms. Holland's cross-examination of Dr. Mullally. She specifically asked her about a text message that Jade might have sent to Nigella Jackson about
Body shaking, yeah, or
doing Adderall and alcohol. The text message that she's referring to is not a text message that Jade Benning sent. It is a text message that Nigella Jackson sent Jade Benning in November of 2022. The state's position is it is not in any way relevant to Ms. Jackson's credibility as a witness or her ability to remember the events of February 25th of 2023.
I haven't gotten anything to Ms. Jackson yet, but
Yes, but the state is asking that the defense not be allowed to ask witnesses about messages unless they have shown them to the state. She misstated the message and who the sender was, and that was inappropriate and wrong, and we would ask that she provide us with a copy of anything she's asking for.
May I respond?
do you think the message that you quoted the doctor is from Ms. Benning?
I am looking at
It's
the,
just a yes or no.
yes, I am. Yes, I do, based on
She
the records
doesn't
that I have.
She thinks it's from Ms. Benning.
And that is why I'm asking the court that she be required to provide us with a copy of it so that we can
Is it
determine
not
that
something
before
you
she.
already have?
I
So The defense attorney asked the doctor about something, a text that she's claiming Jade sent to Keontae or something, but she didn't show this to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor is saying Jade didn't send that text. And then she gets all accusatory here, the defense attorney saying, well, then this is what they gave me.
I
Where do you
have a
reference
copy
it?
of the message.
Let me
right
see,
here.
Ms. Tom.
Let me make sure I give you the right one. And what I was trying to tell the court was that this is the dump of Ms. Benning's phone. So I'm referencing the dump that we were provided by the
So
state.
still gotta know who it's coming
Yeah,
from.
so let me find it, and
Okay.
then I
So she's standing there talking to everybody and acting like with the judge, like she's got it in hand. And so he's like, well, bring it here. And now she's trying to find it.
will turn it to the court. Because what I saw on there was, it was from Ms. Benning. So if I'm wrong, it's based on the records that we received from the state. So I'll find it and I'll get it to the court.
Okay, let me see it.
Okay, let me come.
Who's the next witness?
Keontae Jones.
Keon, okay.
There's the bailiff in a suit. Hey, little Miss Red Velvet, we're keeping you awake again.
Does the state have their available text that you're saying came from this Jackson to Miss Benning about her body shaking?
That's fine.
Is that what you're referencing, Ms. Holland?
No, it was not about body shaking.
Well, that's what you asked.
No, what I asked was,
Look at that message and see if that's what you're speaking of.
yes, that is. That's it. It's
Okay.
on my computer, so
Let me
let me
see.
pull it up on my computer.
So that's the state's copy, just let me see it.
But that's the same copy, it's not what I was looking at.
But that's the text that you're referencing.
I don't know that that's the text you're
I
looking
thought you said it just was.
the text context was, it doesn't mean that the sender and the recipient that I was looking at was, because I verified that before I went into it. So
She is so just trying to throw like confusion. I feel like she did this on purpose.
if I can pull it up on my computer, because that's, I just remembered I was looking at it from my computer.
Well, it says a phone number ending in 0608. How do you pronounce it?
Nigeria.
Najee. My body is starting to feel like it's shutting down.
Yeah, it's not shaking, you said shaking.
You said it was from Miss Benning. That's what I'm trying to determine.
I'm trying to pull it up for you
Okay.
so that I can get it to you.
Her client, Blaise, is looking at her like, you stupid. He's thinking, but Daddy said she was the best. So they call me mommy. I love your name. Tennessee has strict laws for women who abuse DRUGSs while pregnant, and they prosecute. Because the OBGYN earlier said she didn't test her, right? Maybe they don't test you that early. I don't know. I had my kids in another state, so I don't know. Mhm. So the defendant is just staring at the computer. She's going through her computer, and her co-counsel here looks like he's ready to do something. I agree. This defense is dirty. When you see her record wins,
November 2nd, 2022, 11:29:48.
Hey, Fletcher, if you're still here, I mean, I'm thinking I need to get down there at 7. I don't know. I've been looking at where to park. I think I figured it out.
I gotta get on the internet.
Yeah, good question. If drugs show up, what happens? Do they call probably Family Child Services? I don't know. Looks like her eyes are closed, but got her fake lashes, the Gucci belt. It's projected to be 2 weeks each thumb. Yeah, this is totally on purpose. Yeah.
If you look at the bottom of page 169,
The jury is out at this moment. Just keep watching.
it has the sender's number, and then it has a message next to, the message is the next one under. Look at the bottom of the page.
Okay, I'm just trying to, I don't know, show that to the state.
If you look at the bottom of that page, the sender number is 501. The recipient is Nigeria. The very next message is that message that we quoted.
Great question, Mrs. Georgia. Just like her opening statement, 3 things she said were wrong. This is very unethical.
Her copy of the metadata.
Yeah, no, I did. I can read all of this. On page 1969, the record 4388, it says the sender name is Nigeria, 501, and this following page, 1970, is the message.
If you also see
The
the,
sender goes with this message.
can I finish?
Let me ask you a
The
question.
sender says 501.
I'm gonna tell y'all right then when she looks and goes, "Can I finish?" That reminds me of a little bit of my jury duty, but it was like that for a day. With like me being the blonde and then the other girl. She's such a little smart ass, this attorney. Oh, hey, Andrew, crimesters. He's banging her. Oh my God. Beach Bum. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to be there all day, unfortunately. But yeah, I'll update y'all as I can.
541-5008.
Is there a police officer here that can tell us who's the sender and who's the receiver on that?
I absolutely can get someone here.
Okay, why don't you do that?
Yes.
So you're, Ms. Hollins, you're still thinking that this message is from
What I'm sharing is when I looked at the sender's number, it said 501. And then when it said recipient, it did not say Jade Benning. So when I saw sender 501,
Okay,
which
so
is,
let me ask you, are you acknowledging you're now mistaken?
I don't know that. I can say that she's right because it does say sender's name, Nigeria, but the number was 501-541-0608.
What do you need to figure out whether you were mistaken?
Let me just speak with my staff who sent it to me.
Okay.
So I bet this girl's fired tomorrow, right here. Like, what did you do? Just pretend here you made a mistake. I think this is all intentional. Yep. Oh, yeah.
So what she shared with me that it was in fact from Nigeria. However, we have several other messages where she does in fact do the same drug. So we can come back.
You're jumping way ahead of me.
Well,
The
if I,
question you asked the doctor, is that wrong?
let me say this.
That's just a yes or no.
Well, no, it's not, Your Honor. If I can, for the record,
Ooh.
please allow me to say what I need to say.
Sure, for the record. Go ahead.
Thank you. We were mistaken in regards to that
Does
particular.
the jury need to know that?
They can, but if they know that, then I need to be able to go into other messages that suggest the same drug.
See, she was trying to open the door to something else. She goes, oh, well, then if they know that, then they need to know this. This is sleazy. I agree, Andrew. Fannie Willis, I'll never forget the day she testified and she had her dress on backwards, the zipper in the front.
Because I can go a day later, because one of the questions I asked
I'm
was,
just
did
saying the
you?
doctor's gone. I'm just saying the message you try to convey to the jury is, you want to listen to me or co-counsel?
I'm listening to you. If I can,
What did I just say?
you said, do I need to let the jury know?
No, I said the doctor's gone.
I heard that part too. But if you would remember, what I said was, if she told you she did mushrooms, would that make a difference?
Right,
I have a
that's
text.
not what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with the question that you used this text message from what you said was Miss Benning, and now that's not true.
You sustained their objection to this text
You went and
message.
asked the question a different way the second time,
And the
and
question,
they didn't object.
the question I asked was, if she told you she did mushrooms, would that make a
And
difference?
the final question, we can replay it.
We can't, and I also
The final
asked,
question you asked was this same thing.
it was, but the drugs
And
are
she
still
said,
the
no,
same.
that, I didn't know that.
We can clear it up and I can talk about the same drugs and
I'm
the
not
different
dealing with
texts.
the others and whatever witnesses. I'm dealing with, were you wrong on who generated this text?
I was, but that text did not come into evidence. The question was,
Your question included the text.
no, it did not what was in front of the question this witness was able to answer did not deal
The
with the
question
text.
they objected to and it was sustained did not come in. Then your final question after the mushrooms and everything else was, if you knew that she was taking Adderall to the point of shutting down her body, would that been contrary to her history? She answered, yes, they didn't object. So the jury heard all
And they can bring the doctor back and say something different.
that. She's gone.
Well, she can come back. If she wants to impeach that, she can. But
And you said it
That sounded like my dad. She's gone.
didn't get out. Why was she saying impeachment?
because you're saying it did. And I'm not
It
gonna.
did.
Well, then she
I'm
can
gonna
do
bring
what
the
she
jury
needs to do.
down,
Your Honor, I don't
tell
wanna
them
argue with the
that
court.
questions are not evidence, which I told them from the get-go,
That's right.
but that the question you asked, generated from a text from Ms. Benning, was not from Ms. Benning.
The question I asked had to do with the drugs Ms. Benning was doing. And there's a plethora of
You weren't
evidence.
asked about that, and I'm not getting into it.
Okay, well, that's what, if she goes
If
into
you
next
think
step,
you want to question now who you know is Ms. Jackson, then we have a jury out here. Do you think it's relevant that this text comes in to impeach Ms. Jackson about her reliability?
no, I don't.
Okay, then let the jury step in.
Hint, we're not done yet. Yes, Blue River. I'm taking my sketchbook and Fletcher is bringing the colored pencils. And we're going to give everybody names. No, don't worry. I'm not. And y'all see that sign right there. It says no food, no drinks, no cell phone. So I'll be a good girl. Miss Letitia, control yourself. Yes, I work like 3 or 4 miles from this courthouse. Absolutely.
Who is the next witness?
Keontae Jones, Runner.
Keontae. All right, hold him up just, I don't know if he was in here or not. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let me give you this piece of information. One, and this deals with Dr. Malayla's
Yeah,
testimony.
I'm gonna object to this on the record in regards to,
All right, let the attorney step up.
I'm telling y'all, she is doing all of this on purpose. Yeah, read the transcript. Oh, wow. I'm surprised they let the witness stay in there for that. I would think they would have him step outside to hear that correction. That was him in that plaid shirt. Yeah, it was hot pink with the zipper down the front. That was awesome when she got caught using all that money to go on to the Bahamas or wherever they were going. Yeah, this is a mess. But they're probably paying her a lot of money. I couldn't find a rate on what Letitia charges, but I have a feeling Daddy's paying. If he was smart, he should have gotten a good old boy Tennessee attorney. Fletcher, tell me what you think.
So just so the court reporter understands what we were talking about at the bench conference, you, Ms. Hollins, are now saying that you didn't say it was okay for the court to instruct the jury that that question coming from Ms. Benning's, a text from Ms. Benning, was wrong.
what I thought the court was.
Did you say that or not?
Judge, I cannot.
But
I
you
cannot
play back
respond
the
if you cut me
video.
off every time that I'm trying to protect. the
I
record.
said, I'm gonna bring the jury in and instruct them that questions aren't evidence, and that
That's
your
what you said.
question about, to the Dr. Malayla, about Miss Benning generating a text that she was starting to feel like her body was shutting down, did not come from Miss Benning. You now agree to that, right?
What
You
I,
agree the text didn't come from Miss Benning,
I do agree that the text is coming.
but you're now saying you didn't say that that was okay.
No, what I thought the court was saying was that you were going to instruct the jury that what the lawyers say is not evidence. I don't have a problem with that. But if you want to comment on exact evidence, the court can't comment on evidence. The proper way for the DAs to impeach me is to bring that witness back in and then ask that particular question in regards to this exhibit. That is the proper way. Then at that time, I have a right to come back and ask about those very same drugs so that the jury doesn't believe that I'm misleading them. The way that the court wants to do it, it makes the jury believe I'm misleading them
You did.
about the drugs.
Because
You're
you
right.
misunderstood the
You're
text,
right. But the court sustained the state's objection
not the third time.
the third time. If my
You're-
question is wrong, the proper thing for them to do is to bring that
But
witness
that
back.
message got to the jury. So how would I explain to the jury what question or what information we're talking about?
Your Honor, that's not for you to do, it's for the state to do.
How would I, you're saying it's okay for me to bring the jury in and instruct them that what the attorneys say is not evidence?
That's correct.
About what?
That's for the jury, for them to come back and decide. If the court comments on direct evidence, it is improper. And the court knows,
There was no evidence of your question.
then why are we talking to the jury if there's no evidence?
Because you brought it up and misunderstood what your staff gave you.
So that means that the state has a right to bring that witness back up. That is the way that that is.
All I can say is thank God the judge was listening and paying attention, because imagine if this was the lady in the Pinot trial, because I don't feel like she was listening, but this guy was obviously listening, in my opinion. I'm sure they were well aware of this lady's antics ahead of time.
handled. It's not for the court to then impeach me. That's not the way that
Is
they
the
do it.
doctor still around?
No, Your Honor, but she keeps talking about us impeaching her. She's
I
supposed to
know.
be ethical, follow the rules, and not lie to the.
Boom, Jan. That's right. She's supposed to be ethical and follow the rules. You go, Jan.
Okay, so
She wasn't unethical, she was wrong about who sent the text.
that
Maybe
happens.
that's the last time that'll happen.
You're right, Your Honor.
All right, let the jury step back there.
Good point, Fletcher. She's looking for a mistrial now that she's seen all the evidence. Mhm. Oh, yeah. She brought her Perrier, too, just like Miss Eno did. I'll show you. Okay, they're bringing in the jury, but just real quick. So this is who Blaise, who's on trial for murder here. This is his dad. He is the associate head coach of the running backs for Texas A&M football. Oh, and by the way, Beach Bum, he was on Auburn staff years ago. But anyhow, so I think this is dad, right? I think he is funding son Blaise's team here. Because what else would you bring in this attorney from Texas? Just a hunch. And I don't know, Trooper Taylor might be a good guy. I'm just letting y'all know. But I bet you he's in the courtroom. Yeah, Fletcher could be new Nashville people on the jury, but even just to get along with the judge, I know I see some Atlanta people in the chat. So that's where I lived after college, was married, had kids, divorced, all that. And when I got divorced, the one thing they say is you always want an attorney for the county you're in. So if you're in Fulton County, you want Fulton. If you're in Cobb County, Forsyth, whatever it is. County on steroids.
All right, jump next. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what I was saying before this next witness will be called is that questions asked by the attorneys, as I told you yesterday, questions, arguments are not evidence unless it's adopted by the witness, as I said yesterday. There were questions during Dr. Layla's testimony about a text generated from Ms. Benning that is now acknowledged that text was not from Ms. Benning. So just disregard that information. All right, if you'll step up, please.
She just lost all credibility. So really quick, while we're on this, I just had to bring up Fannie Willis for a moment. So y'all, do y'all remember this? What year was this? 2 years ago, so 24. And this was about, I think, what was she doing? Was she pushing to prosecute Trump? I don't even really remember. But she has her dress, y'all, on backwards. How would anybody think?
You'd like to classify it as. Have you been friends with her? I have not spoken to Robin in over a year. I certainly do not consider her a friend now. I think that she.
Wait, I want to see it when she gets
saying
sworn
no
in.
good deed goes unpunished, and I think that she betrayed our friendship. So let's narrow it down, the timeline now. So my questions are going to be from the time period of 2019 until she no longer was employed for you, the last time you all talked. So all of my next questions are just focused on that time frame, okay? Yes, ma'am. Up until she left your office. Yes, ma'am. During 2019, you all were friends, correct? Yes, we knew each other in 2019. During 2020, you all were friends, correct? We were friends during that time period. During 2021, you all were friends, correct? Yes. Okay. And such good friends that when you needed a place to stay, you asked her if you could take over her lease. That's a lie. You did not move into her apartment? I did, but that's not the way you characterize it. Is wrong. I asked if you could take over her lease. I did not ask if I could take over her lease. Did you move into her apartment? I moved into her condo in April of 21. The circumstances around that were that Robin met her husband. They wanted to move into another. I need 3 documents in front of me, and they're the 3 filings of Miss Merchant. 3 filings. I need 3 documents in front of me, and they're the 3 filings of Miss Merchant. 3 filings.
Sorry, I was on mute. All right, so she had the dress on backwards. All right, we'll watch a little bit more, but then I'm going to go because I got to get up early to get downtown. I think this is Chianti.
I do.
Sir, could you please tell us your name and spell your first and last name for us?
My name is Keontae Jones. First name Keyauntee. Last name Jones, Jones.
And how long have you lived in Nashville?
About 4 years now.
Okay. So are you originally from Nashville, Tennessee?
No, sir.
Why did you come to Nashville?
Came down here for school.
And what school is that?
Meharry Medical College.
Do y'all remember when I told y'all about how I was really bad harassed a long time ago when I was a drug rep? Where he just said he was at medical school. I'm just going to leave it there. It should be called Leslie B. Medical College.
And what medical degree are you pursuing?
Doctorate of Dental Surgery.
Where did you go to undergraduate?
Grambling State University.
And when did you graduate from there?
I graduated in fall of 2021.
Right. And when did you begin dental school?
I began dental school fall of 2023.
When you came to Nashville, did you already know anyone here?
No, new person in town.
Did you live on campus?
I just have to tell y'all, Fletcher, have you ever met anybody that went to Meharry? So I also called on a lot of ENTs. And so some of these med students or whatever would be there. And one of them didn't know how to pronounce otolaryngology. Like, you're studying to be an ENT?
Close to the Meharry campus?
Did not live on campus, but I'm in close approximation to campus, yes.
What is your current status as a student at Meharry?
I'm going into my 4th year of dental school.
And how much longer is there to go?
A few more months.
Brooklyn, does he remind anybody of Shadrach Nobles?
When you came to Nashville, as you told us, you didn't know anyone here. Did you meet fellow dental students and or other people here in Nashville?
Yes, sir. Met quite a few people.
And was one of those individuals Jade Jackson?
Yes, sir.
How did you come to know her?
Hanging out with different people in our class.
All right. I hate to leave it there, but I just like I can't obviously. I mean, there's 3 more hours. This judge doesn't play. They kept people on the witness stand until like 4:59 today. He was just like, let's go, let's go, let's go. So yeah, it's 8:54. This way I can be asleep by 10. I'll put on my Bluetooth. Oh, who has ordered the Bluetooth mask? Little Miss Red Velvet, did you get yours? Do you love it? True Crime Wifey, I know you got one. Do you love it? I'm telling y'all, I have 2, and I alternate the charging of them every night. So, but thank you all so much. And yeah, so hopefully Fletcher Boy and I will get in there tomorrow. I don't know. It usually kind of dies down some during the trial, but now that this has been such fireworks today, it may not. I don't know. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try. I mean, I'm nervous. Are they comfy? I don't even know what we're asking about. But probably. Yeah, I hope I get in too. I think it starts at 9. Oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. Okay. So y'all have a good night. And Fletcher, look for me tomorrow. And we'll see what happens. Good night.
Thank you all for riding with me till the truth brings victory. I'm Lazy B, justice seeker, story keeper, and we're still watching, waiting for justice.